I felt my voice giving out like I could not speak.
I've just seen so many amazing Christian entrepreneurs. Something like that happens in their life and they disqualify themselves and they give up on the dream.
The moment you decide to partner your finances with building the kingdom of God, we've just seen so much blessing.
8:30, 9 a.m., I get a phone call from my wife. Hey, great news. I put in my resignation.
We ended up teaching over 10,000 students globally.
The world of the generous gets larger and larger.
My numbers and my projections and my analytics, every aspect of my bank account does not say we're going to make it, but God gets us there.
Well, come on. We got Ricky and Lisa McCabe here on the Christian Entrepreneur Podcast. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, come on.
I
Thank
know.
It's an honor to have you guys here.
We just get to see you every Sunday at church, which is, such a treat. In the front row, always saying hello and hearing about Ricky's latest AI obsessions.
Yes.
But Lisa and Ricky McCabe are founders of Lovely Leaps, a children's dance company that now serves more than 1,500 children across San Diego County. Mm-hmm. What began as an unexpected opportunity after Lisa prayed for a way to stay home with her daughters, work with children, and dance again has grown into a thriving business impacting thousands of families. Through faith, perseverance, and overcoming challenges, including COVID-19 and a serious voice disorder diagnosis, they have built a company dedicated to helping children grow in confidence, creativity, and joy.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much to unpack here.
Come on.
Get your coffee ready. Do we need to top anyone off here?
Seriously.
It's so good. Well, let's start a little bit with how you guys started Lovely Leaps, the dance company, because your background is in engineering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up dancing. Obviously, I started at 9, so I was a little old in the dance world to start. And, I just loved it. And then my dad, he was like, I will support this, but you do need a good backup plan, Lisa. He's like, him and my mom, they're like, you're an amazing dancer, but let's just have a backup plan. Mm. And just as parents, that goes to show what you speak over your children really plants a beautiful seed. Like I was a CD student, so not an engineer type brain. Yeah. But my dad, year after year, month after month, would be like, hey, you're going to be an engineer. And that's what he declared over me. And I grew up and became an engineer. Simple. And amazing. So, that was my background as I got older. And then once I had my daughter, I was like, I really, really want to stay home. Mm. And I did not know how. And as I grew up and became an engineer, obviously I let dance go to the wayside. And so I was like, I'm an adult now. Let's focus. But then seeking God, he kept bringing the desire to dance back into my heart. And I didn't know what to do with it. And so prayer was the only way.
Wow.
Come on.
And in the meantime, what were you up to?
At the time when when this whole thing started, I was working for a branding creative agency.
Okay.
Over in Encinitas, and then I had transitioned over to overseeing sales operations and marketing for an investment firm that buys and flipped houses. And then from there, I'm shifted full-time into what you see today.
So let's talk about that transition a little bit, right? So you have this desire in your heart God's always had there. You've always been passionate about dance, but you go the route of like engineering and all of that. What was it like to feel that desire come back, up to do that? And how did you go from, working this normal career to making your passion your full-time business? Like, I want to hear more about the story.
Love it when that happens.
Ooh, that's a lot. So the dance industry as a whole kind of, I don't know, hurt me in a way. Mm. And so I gave it up, and I remember crying in the car. I'm all, God, I don't know why you put this desire in my heart to dance when all it does is destroy my mental sanity. And I said, God, I'm quitting. And if it's meant to be, if you're in this, you have to bring it back to me. Wow. And, and I let it go. I quit all dance, all the things, engineering. And then the church, C3 at the time, they contacted me. They were like, hey, we heard you dance. Would you choreograph? We have a number in Twisted that we need, a lyrical dancer. everyone says, go to Lisa. And so they asked several times, and I'm all, no, I quit dance. I gave it up. And then so after them asking and asking, I was like, okay, you know what, I'll do it, fine. But through that process of choreographing and leading people through dance and how to worship God through dance, it just ignited a healthy relationship with it.
Wow.
And then so I was a part of the Awaken C3 dance team for several years, helped to launch All the Dance and Hero when that started. And then God brought it back in such a beautiful way. And
at what point did you go, I want to go do what I'm doing here for the church teaching dance and actually start a business doing this?
So realistically, that really didn't occur. I was just doing it as a hobby. I was an engineer, becoming a mom, and I just really didn't think I could make money with it.
Yeah.
It was just a hobby, and I was having fun. And it wasn't until I had my daughter and wanted to stay home with her, and I'm like, God, you placed dance in my heart, so you're going to have to make it happen somehow. I don't know what that looks like. And then after I said that prayer, a month later, school contacted me. They're like, hey, would you like to run our preschool dance program?
Whoa.
And I never taught preschool dance ever in my life.
Wow.
And I was trying to navigate being a new mom, going back into my career, all the things. And so I told them no. And then they asked again, and I was like, no. And then they asked the third time. I'm like, fine, it has to be on Fridays, because my maternity leave, they gave me every Friday off.
Okay.
And so taught the class. 6 preschoolers broke me. Literally, I was, God, I don't think this is the career path for me. The class was chaos. But again, I prayed in my car. I said, Lord, the class was a disaster. If I'm meant to do this, bring a mentor who's done this before, who's not my competition, but she will lead and guide me in a way where I could create an amazing class. And I go on Facebook. I find out an old dance teacher of mine who lives in New York, she had the exact same preschool dance program, traveling program. And so I contacted her, told her, hey, this is what I'm doing. Can I get some feedback? And she said, yeah, let's hop on a call. We spoke for a good 2-3 hours. Literally next week, my class was amazing.
Wow. So there's something important there. I love that you almost gave like a small story of teaching of the power of mentorship. I think a lot of people get into entrepreneurship, but they undervalue finding someone who's farther ahead than you.
Yeah.
And how even a few hour conversation, some nuggets of wisdom were probably sown into you, some encouragement.
So much.
Even an example of someone farther in the journey than you who's been successful. I just think it's really cool. You said that. Have you continued to pursue mentorship or have a relationship with that person? And how has that contributed to you growing the business?
Yeah, actually, I continued to talk with her throughout COVID and all the things. And she actually ended up stopping her business. But she let me know, she's like, Lisa, anytime you have questions about preschool dance, all the things, please continuously talk to me. And so, yeah, I did still talk to her. Now we're not as close, but her advice was
especially in that
pivotal.
early stage, right?
Yeah,
for you?
early stage advice. And I like what you said, how mentorship is so important in business, because even with our company, Lovely Leaps, my heart was to create something very magical and fun. And there was a company, Little Lights in Australia, who I loved what they did. I loved all of their class outlines, everything. And so I hit her up on Instagram. I said, hey, I'm a new mom. I love what you're doing with Little Lights in Australia. Can we hop on a Zoom and I just pick your brain and see how you started?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I would love to. And so we talked for hours also.
Wow.
So between that studio in Australia, my old dance teacher in New York, they were very pivotal in just being supportive and giving just advice, telling me what I'm doing great, what I'm not. And advice is something, if I listen to it, I'm like, I'm not doing that, I know better than them, then I don't think I would have been where we are today. So it's very important as a business owner, like to be humble and say, I don't know it all.
Yeah.
And let me just, kind of listen to other people and take their advice,
So what year was this that all this was going on?
It was 2018.
2018.
That was before the business was actually established as
Yeah.
a business. So
Right,
she was
exactly.
a contractor
Yeah,
for
You were
that.
contractor,
so how did
yeah.
how'd
So
you go
let me do that
2018? You're
journey.
contracting for another school,
Yes.
teaching their preschool class. How did you transition into starting Lovely Leaps? When did that
Yeah,
happen
because
and
you
how?
had a stable financial situation being an engineer.
And you took
Not
a
low-paying
risk.
job. And you had a stable job. And your eyes were still, you didn't they weren't seeing the potential in this amazing entrepreneur husband that he had all these skill sets that you had yet to monetize.
Exactly. So Ricky is such a great life giver, speaks life over everything. And my class quickly grew from 6 kids to 10 kids to 22 kids to multiple to 3 classes at this one school. And that went from September to December 2018.
Okay.
And Ricky's like, Lisa, I think you have a business. And I'm like, he's like, I think this is your business. I'm all, no, it's not. It's just, it's a hobby. He's like, I really think you should try to, go to approach other schools and ask them if you could teach the same program with them.
So January 1st, 2019 is when the official start of Lovely Leaps was.
Okay.
It wasn't the beginning, but it's the official founding start of Lovely Leaps.
Yeah, where we got a business license and all the things. And
Would you say your husband's encouragement of seeing that helped lead to, oh my God, maybe I actually can be successful doing this?
100%. Yeah, Lovely Leaps would not be where it is today without Ricky, my husband, really seeing the future and seeing like there's opportunity here.
Come on. So good. Okay, so you start in 2019 officially. You start doing the school. What was it like early days growing the school, creating the business?
Yeah.
What was that experience like? There's people listening to this podcast on both sides. On one side, we have the Christian who's has a passion they'd love to turn into a business like you did and hasn't done it yet. And they're probably listening to this podcast for encouragement, for wisdom, and even just to get inspired to take that risk themselves in their life. The other is they've taken the risk. They're the business owner. And we have, the startup all the way to the 8-figure business owner that listens to this. And so I'd just love to hear from your perspective, like early on, what was that risk like?
Really quick before you say anything on that end, just remember, like there was one school right there. You only could work Fridays. But then you wanted to be able to expand it because we made it a business. So in order to be able to expand it with the limitations of you working full time on the other days.
Make sure you're talking to the mic, Ricky.
So that you have the ability to, grow the company. Talk about, I would say, expand it in that sense because that's actually the very beginning.
So my advice to what both of you said is do not overanalyze things. Our company name was literally thought up in 2 seconds.
Yep.
The school I was teaching at said you need insurance, and I was like, okay, I'll get insurance. The insurance guy, he was like, what's your company name? And I was like, well, I'm inspired by the Australia company Little Lights, so I knew I wanted 2 L's. And then my sister and I, anytime like we hang out together, we're always saying like, oh, that's lovely, lovely this, lovely that. And then leaps are my favorite dance move. So I was all lovely leaps. And then that was it. Literally 2 seconds. Like
that.
do not overanalyze things.
Yeah, it creates paralysis. when
It
you do
really
that.
does. And so so that's how our company name started. And then our logo, I found someone on Instagram. I liked her artwork. It was $25. I'm like, hey, can you draw me up a logo? This is our name. She drew it up. I was all good enough. And then, in hindsight, now that I see how important a name and your logo is, I'm like, oh, maybe I should have thought about it more. I don't know. But that was really one thing that I would give advice is don't overanalyze it.
It's great.
And,
It's the same name and logo since day one. So
Yeah. It's
I
cute.
actually really
it
like
classy.
Lovely
Yeah.
Leaps.
it's
Exactly.
completely hand-drawn, completely custom, completely unique.
Yeah. So
One of the big things on the start right there is right when that started going, we made it official company. The one question she asked was, well, how do we get the other schools? And I just said, just show up. Because my background is sales operations, sales being a big key factor in marketing, obviously, but understanding the process of sales.
Right.
So I told her, just go knock on a few doors.
Yes.
B2B sales.
Okay, so you were still working full time.
Yes.
And
She was still working.
I was still working
full time, and Fridays doing Lovely Leaps, but
And
as a
with a
contractor,
newborn.
and with a newborn.
Dang.
So she showed up at the schools.
You really put in the footwork
And so
and the prayers.
yes, all the prayers. And so for my mom entrepreneurs, how my literal day would look like is on Fridays, I would, teach my class, and then I would get home, handle my daughter, and then while I'm with her, I would Google search all schools, all private Christian preschools. And so I would create that whole list. And then the following week, if I don't have time to do it right in that moment, I would set up a call and just call them. And
So, Lisa, you're telling me that these schools didn't just come knocking on your door begging you to run a
did
dance?
not.
What?
They did
leads
not.
didn't just come to you?
No.
You had to actually go out and find
I really did. I really did.
Like so many
Yeah.
people have such a misconception about that.
Yeah, no, you really
Yes.
do have to put in the work. The start of our company, yes, like they knocked on our door and so forth. But to grow it, we actually had to put in the work, had to,
No,
show
were
up when
you-
we didn't want to.
So you had this school you were contracted with teaching this preschool class. Was the client you were going to the schools and trying to sell them on you doing a program through their school, or you're trying to get a hold of the parents to invite the kids into a class? What was the
No.
early days of that like? Because you didn't
Yeah.
have a building yet, right?
No, we didn't have a building. And so it was just the preschools. And how you did that is you build a relationship with them. You build a relationship with the front office staff. Those are really the people who are going to let you into the school or not.
And then you held the
And
class at the school?
I would hold the class
like
at the
after hours
preschools.
school, and parents
Yeah.
could sign their kids up and go
Yeah,
through
after
dance.
hours or during.
Okay.
It doesn't. Some schools have us in there during, and then some have us after. But you talk to the school, and the school will relay the information to the parents, and then they sign up. And then in the early days, I had to put everything on Friday because that was my only off
Wow.
day. So
So take us through that first year. Now that it's established business, your husband's like, "This is a business, not a
is
hobby.
it."
You've got
Yeah.
something here."
Uh-huh.
At what point did you get to where you're like, "Okay, I can go all in and leave my stable, very comfy paycheck to go all in on this business that
Yeah.
you're not sure if it's going to succeed."
That was
I don't think there was ever a stable mindset to that. I think there was more of just a mindset to do it.
Yeah.
so. From January
leap of
20
faith.
Yeah, a
lovely leap of faith.
Yes.
That's what we'll call this
Yes,
podcast.
exactly. I love it. No, so to expand, you obviously need someone to replace you. There's no way on earth I could teach all these classes. And so I talked to Ricky. I'm like, I think we need to hire someone. We're bringing in income, steady income from it. So let's find someone to replace me.
Yeah.
And then so I had to navigate, okay, how do I correctly train someone to be me?
Yeah.
How do I have
Trust
those
them,
hard
yeah.
conversations, trust them to show up on time? Owning a business, all the hard conversations you have to have when you're not used to having them. And so we navigated that. We found the right fit. Our school classes grew very rapidly. We were in 15 schools.
Wow.
And from me just cold calling. And then, so from January 2019 all the way to July 2019, we were calling schools, all the things. And then July 2019, I told Ricky, I was like, I think it's time I throw in the towel at GA and do this full time. And he's like, I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah, Rick, we got to hear more from you.
So it's like Sunday night. There was church that day. God's good. God's praying. We're listening to this. She comes home. We go, and nighttime. Hey, honey, I think it's time for me to let go of my company I work at to pursue this full time. And I was like, oh, honestly, that sounds great, but can we wait till after summer? So this is like July. Can we wait till like end of August, September? Now that I know you want to do that, now we can start saving towards this. And that's kind of how it started. Monday hits. So the very next morning, probably around 8:30, 9 a.m., I get a phone call from my wife. Hey, great news. I put in my resignation.
Wow.
wow.
And then,
In the world.
well, she already did it. So my response could be like, did you not hear me? It's already too late. It's already done, you know?
Right.
So instead I said, okay, well, we'll figure it out. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
that's a good husband.
And we just did it.
Yeah.
And
Good pivot there.
There was zero like, I can't believe you did that. We talked about this. Now I know she knows that we talked about it. So reminding that we talked about it isn't going to help anybody get anywhere. It's not going to take back the
Get
fact
some
that
marriage
letter's on the
advice. Let's
table.
go.
So instead, okay, I do well.
Yeah.
I do well enough that we can make it work. And even if I didn't do well enough, guess what? We can make it work.
Come on.
No matter what, anything is possible
Yeah.
with the right mindset to get there.
Yep.
So good.
And speaking of mindset, so as we were leading up to July 2019, I really, God placed it on my heart to do Pathfinders. And so July 2019 is when I also joined Pathfinders. So I quit.
So Pathfinders is a
Yes.
You've been in Pathfinders. so
Yeah,
you could explain about it.
Pathfinder's Apprenticeship Program is a marketplace
give it
ministry
all now.
hosted by the
Yeah.
Church Awaken. What is it, 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months.
6-month long apprenticeship program, weekly classes on Tuesday that our church holds. That's really equipping our church and our entrepreneurs. Okay, so I love this because there's a few important things here. You took a lovely leap of faith.
Yeah.
You quit your good paying job to go all in your business. You had a supportive husband who believed in you, and you immediately invested into personal and business development. Okay, so this is happening. What happens in the next 6 months?
About 3 new teachers to help grow the business, start scaling come January, cold call on more schools.
We're
And
in
on
25 schools by then.
we'll cold call them. So the new agreement's getting set up, everything. And then what happens actually at that moment, Pathfinders finishes, the processes are starting to get dialed in, COVID hits, all the schools shut down. But at the same time,
Right at your peak.
You're like this, and then COVID hits, and
Yeah.
income starts dropping overnight.
So much
And at that
uncertainty.
time, the new season of Pathfinders, since she did it second half of 2019, I did it the first half of 2020. So I was that season during COVID. But COVID hit, everything wiped out, but that didn't stop anything.
No. So it was February 2020. And we were at our peak with their schools. But I feel we grew very rapidly. And
February, March for COVID.
no. Here, let me finish.
Okay. Sorry.
And what I feel that I was going through is when you have success really fast, sometimes mentally you just aren't ready for it. So I was really stressed out come February 2020. And I was like, Lord, I don't know how we're going to do all these classes and train all the teachers and payroll. And I was almost having a little breakdown, with God. And so then when COVID happened, yes, all of our school programs stopped overnight, but I had like a slight sigh of relief. I was like, well, okay, well that was
Careful what you pray for.
that was good while it lasted.
Lisa's prayer brought COVID on us, guys. Lord's like, she needs a break from business. Let me shut the world down.
Also, January going into February, we were informed we were renting. We were informed by our landlord that they were going to be selling the house. So we had to go find a new
so we had
place.
to
So we
move.
found a new place
Lot
at
of
the
moving
end
parts.
of February
Yeah,
as well.
So many moving parts. And so when COVID hit, I think I was in a mental state of, okay, good, I could think now. And, I prayed. Obviously, we prayed a lot together trying to figure out, okay, what are the next steps? His job ceasing, mine, the school program stopped. And I heard God say, give X amount to this person. And that was it. And I was all, no, that doesn't really make sense. God did not let up with this request. And so I came to my husband and I was all, so I feel God really wants us to give this amount to this person. And Ricky's like, you know what? Every time you say you feel God said to give and we do it, we're so blessed after.
Yeah, come on.
And so he's like, sure, we don't know where money's coming from, but let's do it. And so we give the amount. Turns out that was the exact amount her job took from her check because of COVID. And so it was a whole situation.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was crying. I was crying. I'm all, well, God, if this was the only fruit from it, I think it's worth
Beautiful.
it. And a couple weeks later, we talked to this PR person, and that's how...
End of March now.
Yeah, and the end of March. And she's like, yeah, you guys have a great story. You're engineer, dancer, turned whatever. And so we partner with her. She gets his features on all of these major news
Everything
outlets.
across
Good
everywhere.
Morning America, Lester Holt, local news.
Awesome. Were you seeking out that opportunity, or did you just end up meeting?
So it was really random.
Wow.
So I was teaching a class and the news was there and they somehow caught some of our class and I was like, oh, how'd that even happen? And then so I found the person who was speaking or who was running the whole situation. And she's like, yeah, I could totally help you guys.
Wow.
And
That's
so
awesome.
at the same time of us meeting her, I also felt God say, you need to start virtual. And I'm like, I don't know how to do virtual dance, but our classes blew up online.
Wow.
Especially in COVID.
Yeah,
during COVID.
everything
Parents
went
had their
virtual.
kids home. They
I had
needed
never
stuff to do
used
with
Zoom
it.
before.
Seriously.
So March, before April hit, so literally COVID announced like 12th or the 20th, somewhere in that range.
Yes.
By the 27th, we had a full virtual program online set
Yeah.
up, ready to
You
go.
pivoted
That is
fast.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a fast
But
pivot.
you were obedient to God. Obedience precedes blessing. You sowed a seed into someone because God told you to. Then God, which blessed that person with
Yeah.
exactly what they need. Then God opens the door, right, of PR opportunity, which probably got a lot of attention for the
Yes.
business. And then you guys pivoted to virtual. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. What happens after that?
Amazing.
After virtual, we hop on. We ended up teaching over 10,000 students globally.
Holy cow.
Between April 1st to, I'd say about December, right around there, about 10,000 in total
Wow.
on the year for 2020.
We were able to call all of our school teachers who were teaching with us. We're like, hey, so I know it's COVID, but do you guys want to come to our house and teach virtually? And they're like, sure. And so they would come.
Amazing.
We
So you're
outfitted.
able to keep them employed.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
we were
outfitted
able to
every
keep them
room.
employed throughout.
Every room that wasn't our bedroom or our
daughter's rooms.
or our daughter's
Yeah.
room. The other rooms, like the garage got converted. The playroom got converted.
So you converted these into
Like
studios.
fun. I wish I was hanging out with you
dining room
guys
was
in
converted.
COVID.
You had live
So
streams
we
going on.
would have at least 2 to 3 virtual classes at minimum going on at any given time for about 10 hours a day during COVID.
Wow.
From technically,
I love
You guys
entrepreneurs.
had a way funner
I'd say July
COVID
1st,
than I did.
July
It's
1st
really
through December.
great.
Wow.
And whether we're at church or not, live classes were going. Whether we're doing anything, live classes were
Wow.
going.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming you scaled as well in terms
Yeah.
of financially.
Yeah, we were scaling really great
And March is-
financially during COVID.
And March is also when she had that diagnosis she spoke of.
Yeah,
Yes.
so let's hear about that.
So back in March, a little bit before March, I felt my voice giving out and I'm like, I could not speak. Like
Wow.
the fact that I'm able to do this podcast
Wow.
smoothly is a miracle in itself. And so come March, my parents were like, Lisa, you got to go to the doctors, figure out what's happening to your voice. And then so the doctor's like, yeah, you have spasmodic dysphonia. I'm like, what is that? And it's something like 1 in
50,000 people over the age of 50.
and usually it's men.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have this. And so it's where your vocal folds, they just don't cooperate. They spasm basically every time you talk. And so I could not get a word out. Like even, someone left a weird review, like great class, but I couldn't understand her. Her voice was weird. I'm like, well, I'm doing my best. And so went to the doctors. The doctor's like, well, you're going to have to get surgery every 3 months. We'll inject Botox into your vocal folds. You'll sound like a princess for a week. And then because it makes your voice super high pitched. And then, a week or 2 later, it'll level out. And then as Botox fades, and then the spasms start back up. And so they're like, so that's all you can do. There's no cure.
And remember the stats that one of it, that's what I remember, could be a little different online. Just want to make sure anybody listening.
And so that, but then at
Guy.
the exact same time,
So you have
we
this
were blowing up.
diagnosis.
Yeah.
You probably have, some fear coming on you. Like, what's going on with my voice? Am I never going to be able to talk again? Right? Like all these things. And you're also pivoting in business. You're blowing up. Like, how did you feel in that moment? And how did you not give up on your dream?
We're going to get back to this episode really quick, but before we do, we want to share something that's really close to Cody and I's heart. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt torn between building something big, building your business, and staying faithful to God? I know we have, and it's so common. You want to grow your business, you want to make money, but you don't want to feel like you are driven by the wrong motives or wrong ambitions. And it's so common for people to feel that way. And that's exactly why we built the Christian Entrepreneur Club.
Yeah, so you don't have to teeter between ambition and obedience. You can actually build something that's successful and led by God in the process. If that's the tension you've been feeling, come meet our team. We'd love to learn more about you and get you connected to a thriving community of Christian business owners just like you. Go to christianentrepreneurclub.com or click the link in the show notes down below and join us on our next intro call this next week. We can't wait to meet you.
My mindset was, God, I know you have the ability to heal me, but you're not healing me right now. And so what are you trying to teach me in this moment? And it was really hard. I mean, it sounds easy, but it was really hard. Lots of tears, lots of, God, I don't know why you're doing this to me. Why am I being featured on all of these news outlets when I can't talk?
Wow.
You know, why are we blowing up virtually, but I can't teach, I can't do it. And so, you know, and I'm still searching for that answer. I don't know really why. Maybe it was because God wanted us to know that he's doing this. You know, he stripped away, or he didn't strip away my voice, but my voice was gone. And it was only through God I was able to pivot and teach these classes. And it taught Ricky and I how to rely on other people. Like, I didn't have to teach the classes. I could communicate to my instructors and they taught the classes. And so I think in a way, the voice situation really helped us scale because I really relied heavily on the instructors.
Yeah, and it forced you to become a good leader,
Yeah.
to raise leaders, to delegate and trust, which often early on entrepreneurs really struggle with because they want to be the hero. They want to be the instructor. They want to be front and center. And it's almost like God kind of forced you to be like, hey, you're not going to be able to do that to the best of the ability you want. So instead, you've got to raise up people.
Exactly.
What a beautiful way, like, God orchestrates all things for good.
Yeah.
So what happened? Can share the rest of the story,
Yeah.
like with your voice? Are you still struggling with that today? Did God perform a miracle? How have you
He
learned
really
to
did.
live with that?
Yeah. And so during the early stages, the beautiful thing in it was to speak with someone, it had to be intimate. Like, it had to be, you know, not a loud place, just me and them. So I actually developed lots of close relationships in that season, including one of my current best friends. She literally went through a whole year helping me raise my children when he's, you know, doing things at work. She was talking for me to my daughters.
Wow.
And, you know, through not having my voice, God really brought people close to us. And it was really beautiful. And what was the main question?
I was like, you know, like the story of the voice, because, you know, I actually don't know this story about your voice.
Oh, okay.
I don't know this. So I'm
And
like,
actually, I love your voice. I never knew that there was anything. I just thought that that's how it was. It's
yeah,
like
this is the first time I'm like,
It's like raspy and sexy and gotta.
and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I didn't know that. And I've just seen so many amazing Christian entrepreneurs have a great idea, and whether it's the enemy or whatever comes in and something like that happens in their life and they disqualify themselves and they give up on the dream.
Yeah, get
but
discouraged.
Yeah.
you
They do.
didn't for some reason and you kept going.
It was a lot of depending on God. I read the book of, was it Exodus? I think the book of Exodus, and I learned Moses had a speech impediment. And so I was like, okay, if God could use Moses to deliver all these people and he had a speech thing, you know, God could still use me even though I have or had a speech situation. And so, you know, Ricky and I agreed we're going to do the Botox every 3 months and so forth. And, but God, he healed me. I haven't had it since
End of 2020.
Yeah.
I mean,
20.
2020. End of 2021 or beginning 2022?
So the last time I did
Whoa.
it, Zoe, my daughter, she was in my belly. And so that was the last time I ever had
So we're
it.
like 4.5 years and you've never had to get those injections again.
No.
Talk to us about that. Like, when did you know, like, God healed your voice? Did anything miraculous happen, or did you just realize, oh my God, I don't have this issue anymore?
And also, you gave up the option to go to your husband and say, "Sorry, honey, doctor's orders. I have to get Botox. Like, it's not my fault."
It's not my fault. I have to do it. No, so
Sorry.
I just laughed.
I was holding
A lot of women out there are nodding their head and being like, I would have just stuck with it.
Yeah, seriously. No, God did not do a miraculous overnight victory.
Right.
God really forced me to walk this process out and to say yes to hard things so I fully depend on him.
So good.
When, they asked me to give a message at church, I didn't shy back. I just said, okay, God, you brought me to this opportunity, so you're going to have to deliver the message for me. When God filled our classes, I'm like, okay, God, you brought me to this opportunity. You're going to have to teach me how to use my voice properly in class so I don't destroy it, but I still get my point across. And so it's been a lot of depending on God. And still, I love talking with friends in an intimate space. So if the environment's loud, I'm like, hey, can we just step outside and go sit and chat? And, people, my friends, all the things, like, it's great. And currently I feel I am healed from it. Sure, yes, in a loud bar, it's hard to talk, but I mean, am I going there? Not really. So
you don't look like a loud bar kind of girl. Like a quiet bar.
Right, like a
wine bar.
Lounge, yes.
Yeah, coffee shop.
So through all of that, middle of COVID, you were still working full time. At what point did, you guys are getting through this, God is still moving, you're relying on the Lord, and then you decide to take a lovely leap?
I think mine was January 2023.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So 3 years later.
Yeah. What led to you going, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to come on full time with
COVID
business?
hit a lot on everybody. I was blessed with my company because as the sales operations manager, director, and marketing director, I held the keys to all systems, everything connected to the company. So the last person to be let go from that company would have been me. In the end, the company ended up selling. I ended up partnering up with the gentleman, doing the exact same thing for the gentleman who took over the company. Obviously, 2020, all the spending got frozen. So marketing was kind of, you knew it's coming. They ended up selling the business to a gentleman out in Nashville, and it was going, but there was just an end, and you could see it, And the end never really came. I just called the guy I was partnered with, and I actually spoke with the guy I was partnered with about a month ago. But I was like, yeah, I think I'm done. Like, I don't think we're going to keep doing this anymore. You can keep doing this. And I pulled out, just made sure I gave him access, gave him all the access, the keys, and went on and just said, just work full time. The company was growing. I was needed a lot more from Lovely Leaps than I was for the company in the past. One of the beautiful things about sales operations and marketing and systems is once you build it, it's really a lot of maintenance. So technically, my workload went from very heavy to light, and then very heavy when I choose it to be very heavy for the next growth period, and then light again. So it was like, it's built, it's ready. I can let go of this. You can run it, and I'm going to go do things with my wife.
Wow. That's awesome.
And I decided to partner and went home.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do the thing with my wife. Yeah. I like that. I'm like, yeah, let's do
Do you
that.
feel like your background in marketing, sales, systems, operations was a skill set that was really good to have as you partnered with your wife on the back end of the business?
Yes, it's definitely used heavily today. As far as the marketing goes, I handed that away. We handed it off early, I'd say 2021, to a dance specialized company in marketing.
Like an agency?
Yep, they're very good at what they do, which is why we use them. I mean, I might be able to do ads for houses and real estate and what my background was, but there's different industries and different reasons. Yes, marketing is similar in different places, but keywords matter, and I didn't need to relearn a tool.
That's cool.
I could just hand it to somebody who already knew it. It was
Delegated something to someone who's an expert at that.
in that specific industry so that I could focus on other things like the systems that we are actually using inside the company, billing, all that stuff, making sure the processes are in place so that my wife can scale the business, how she can communicate and teach the instructors. I know that during virtuals, one of the big things we used was Vimeo. It was a really great tool. Even though she wasn't teaching most of these classes anymore, all the other teachers were, but the consistency of Lovely Leaps coming as Lovely Leaps personnel needed to be the same. So at nighttime, she would record herself doing the dances, teaching the classes, all these things. And then those videos would be shared in a shared file for all the teachers when they're assigned this class. This is how you're going to be teaching this class. So a way to keep organization going. And that same thing has kind of gone into the in-studio programs and everything else. And it's continued to grow from that.
Wow.
So I want to get to the foundation in just a bit with our final time. But before we do that, when you made that merge and that coming together, you guys have gone through so much already together.
Yeah.
You're overcoming it. 3 years later, you've probably gotten established, and then you decide to go all in. How did that affect your marriage, being in business together, navigating a whole new season?
Yeah. I felt like it happened so seamlessly.
Wow.
Like it was just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, now let's do this.
Yeah, because we both were technically working the business. The difference was she was full-time. Her 100% mindset was on it. Mine was split between.
Right.
Were you
Come
both
there and
working
work
from
from-
home at the time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you already had a cohesiveness of working together from the
Okay.
house.
I've been technically working from home since like 2012. But
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, wow.
I get to choose where I go.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I'd say
Yeah.
they had a little bit of an
Yeah.
edge already probably
I
being
feel like
home.
that's
We
similar
did,
to
yeah.
us. I mean, we started working together. We went to business 6 months into dating.
Wow.
We really tested that waters there. You know, he wrote me a $10,000 check on my birthday.
Good bonus.
Will you marry me?
I was like, "Are you trying to buy my love?"
I did not buy my marriage, y'all. For the record,
He wrote me this whole
I
letter.
wanted to break the spirit of
$10,000
poverty
check.
off of my future wife.
Honey, if you wrote me a $100,000 check, that might.
All I could afford was 10.
So it was amazing. We had closed it.
I love
We kind of
that.
like worked
Yeah.
together. He closed a big deal right before that, and he was so generous. But yeah, I was helping him with his business. He wasn't paying me, and I was
Yeah.
working full time.
I paid you. Maybe early on you did for free, but we brought you on.
No, you didn't. You did. Yeah, a couple months later.
No,
No,
you share
when I got you to
Yeah.
go from nannying
Yes.
because you were working with that
was-
family
yeah, I was
to
nannying.
full time, I replaced your income.
Yes, you did, honey. I mean, before that, I was helping a little bit, and it was really cool because we got to see.
Yeah.
I had all these gifts and skills that he didn't have, and he hated doing all those things.
I did.
And he would leverage me all the time on the weekends. I would help schedule all the content because we had the content agency at the time. He's like, "Oh, thank God, you do this!" Like, and it was really cool. So we kind of had tested the waters of that a little bit, and
I
but
love that.
It definitely. I will say probably because we were early on in our relationship, we had to learn how to keep it romantic and not let
Yeah, because you become like the conversations are always about the business and
want it to be a
growing.
business partnership.
That you don't
Exactly.
separate and compartmentalize business from like
Yeah.
intimate time together. Have you? And it's a good thing to bring up. You guys are a Christian entrepreneur married couple. We're an uncommon breed in the world today. There's not a lot of us, for one, building business God's way, two, doing it with our spouse.
Yeah.
How have you guys navigated, separating marriage and family time from business?
Yeah.
No one does it perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel, some seasons we nail it, some seasons we're like, eh. So as far as parenting goes, we both communicate with the girls like, hey, it's November, which is in our recitals in December. Okay. So I tell them, mommy and daddy are going to work very heavy. Like you will see us on the sofa, but we are working. Okay, Muffin. Okay, baby
Work from
girls.
home.
Yeah. And so they
You will see us on
But we are working.
but we are working. And we just communicate with them like, hey, our mental load, we can't maybe take you to the park or Legoland to this season, but I promise as soon as recital's over, we will do these fun things with you. And, when they were younger, they didn't understand it, but now they're like, okay, I get it. And to separate something so fun like mommy and daddy own a dance studio from parenting, it's really hard to let them know like, hey, when we're at the studio, we're working. Like this is my job. And so lots of communication with the littles. And then as far as our marriage goes, we have to be very, very, very intentional that we are going on a date and we cannot talk about business to the point of even like
Who struggles more with it?
Yeah,
Him or
he
you?
does.
Probably struggle.
I think I do as
Probably
you.
struggle more.
Me too.
He's like,
It's
did you
hard to
check
shut
out
it
this
off,
AI?
No business talk. And it's so crazy because business and our personal life is so intertwined.
Yeah.
Like we can just talk about how proud we are of our daughter in the recital, but then the recital bleeds into business and then we're like, oh, we could have done that better at the recital, and then we're back at business.
Yeah.
And so it gets really tricky. And we have to be very intentional to the point of I'll even chat GPT a couple questions like, what are some great date night questions we can ask that
We
don't
do that.
revolve around our business?
Yeah.
And so
She's good at that.
yeah, I'm all use AI. We have the tools there.
Totally.
So why not? If you're like, oh, I can't think of anything to talk about, I'm all just chat it.
I love asking
Yeah.
Claude now. Like, hey, give
Yes,
me and my
Claude.
wife like 10 fun questions to ask each other at date night.
Yes.
Has nothing to do
Or
with
we have the
business.
actual like cards and games.
Yes.
Yeah, we
different
buy like
things
some.
like that adventure book. I will
Yeah.
say though, something that we found on that wavelength is even though we don't necessarily want to talk business strategy, we love dreaming together.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
love like it's such a huge component of our relationship is how much we love building together.
Yeah.
So on date nights and stuff like that, if it gets into strategy or finances or anything that's like boring or like I don't, then we kind of shut it down. But we don't mind the dreaming components, or
Yeah.
sometimes we'll make a list of all the things that we're dreaming into, we want to buy or we want to like do one day in our dream house, and then how we want to get there with like a business idea or different thing like that. So.
Well, and I think one of the things I believe couples that dream together and cast vision together grow together. Couples that grow together stay together. And so I'd say once a quarter, we try to have a Dreaming with God date. We might go to a really
Love that.
expensive
So
5-star
good.
hotel,
I love that.
wealth triggers, go to the nice restaurant.
Maybe we'll do a double date.
Yeah, let's do
one
it.
day.
We do a Dreaming with God double date, and we'll just Google Doc and just dream, and it also allows you to know the desires of your spouse's heart, and like, hey, like no limits, like what do you believe in God for?
Yeah.
And I like know things that I wouldn't know my wife desires had we not done that, and so I think that's been really helpful. But even then, I would say my natural tendency is I always am like such a dreamer and a visionary that I could default to wanting to do that every time. And so then having specific date nights where it's like, we're not going to do that. We're just going to have fun and be present.
And usually we have to go do an activity, like whether
Yeah.
that be playing games at an arcade or doing
Catan
something
night
fun,
or that'd be
surfing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I have a few questions I want to ask real quick that just like God put on my heart. I feel like led. One of the things, like when I get an opportunity to interview Christian entrepreneurs or have conversations, I want to know, and the audience wants to know, how have you invited God in to the process of building the business? And I want to hear we'll go Ricky first, because we've heard a lot from Lacey, and then we'll go to you.
I mean, that's big. And you just got to understand that God is always there. You'll notice like there's some tight times in the month and like really tight times, but for some reality, you survive. Even when you feel like you're not surviving, you survive. That is only God. That's not you. That's God. That's not by accident. You are making it because God is allowing you to make it. The minute you don't make it, did you put that on yourself, or did you rely on God to help you get there? Because there's, I'd say at least 30 times over the last 7 years where we were like, yeah, I don't think we're going to make it the end of this month. But at the end of the day, we've made it every single time because God will do it, because my numbers and my projections and my analytics and every aspect of my bank account does not say we're going to make it.
Wow.
But God gets us there. So God is in every step. And you can tell when you're not allowing God to speak into it. Like when you're tunnel visioned in, you're overstressing. And obviously as men, we probably deal with this the most internally, where we overstress,
Yeah.
But I get reminded from my beautiful wife that God's got us.
Yes.
Let's keep pushing.
Yeah.
We have the tools and means to do it. Let's let God open up the funnels. There was a massive God story that happened the other day, and it was huge. And that situation was taken care of by God. Again, it happens month over month, year over year, even if it doesn't feel massive. It doesn't have to be like a big thing, like, oh, you're healed from spasmodic dysphonia, or, all of a sudden you have thousands of people following you online, or kids flood to your studio. That doesn't have to be those things. Little things can be God.
So good.
And they're involved in every day of your business. Like the fact that I can take my daughter with me to sell a district for dance classes and them not be upset about it, that is God. Actually, them saying yes because of it, that is God.
That's awesome.
The kids do business. They're with us 100% of the time. whether we're at the studio or at home, or she's at the studio or I'm at home.
Here right
She's
now
over
with
here.
you while you're recording the
Hanging out.
podcast.
You will never find a day where we're not doing business, where our kids are not doing the business with us. They are learning the business, they're growing the business, and God has put them in our position to be able to grow them. Honestly, God is making them better leaders than we ever will be.
Come on.
So good.
So good.
It's so
If
true.
that answered your question, maybe
Yeah,
I
no, it's so good. I would love to hear from Lisa.
Yeah, if you're a business owner, as everyone on this podcast is, start tithing.
Yes.
Get in the church. If you're not going to church, start going to church and tithe to that church, because the moment you decide to partner your finances with building the kingdom of God, you're telling God that I'm not in control of this. This company is yours, and I'm expecting you to build this. And we've just seen so much blessing unlocked over our lives, so many unexplained situations. And like Ricky said, it's only God that we're here, and we're able to live this incredible life with our daughters alongside of us. And yeah, God just takes care of us the whole time. And whenever there's a big decision to be made, I always fast and pray. You know, give up something that God's telling you to set down and really seek him out. You know, before we went into owning like a studio location, I fasted and prayed for a week, because that's what God said. And then I sent an email out to all the locations that I felt God saying approach. And so we never make a big decision in business without praying and fasting and trusting God. Even before our recitals, I fast and pray, because I'm like, God, a million things could go wrong, but you're giving us this business. You know, and a recital for us is huge. We have about 1,200 people come, and 200 kids and 30 staff, and that's just a lot.
I'd say it's even larger than that. But
Yeah, it might be a little bit. It might be a lot bigger than that, because we do it twice in one day. But that is something that we cannot do without God's help, guidance, protecting all the kids backstage.
Yeah.
6
And
years
so-
ago, our first recital had 30 kids in it,
Yeah.
and maybe 60 to 90 people in the audience. Now it's 270 to 300 in it, and about 1,500 that come.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Praise God.
And we do that twice a year. So that is obviously God.
Yeah.
We need his help, his guidance. I always pray, God, show me our blind spots. Where can we be better? And so, yeah, you know, spending time with God daily.
Yeah.
And as an entrepreneur, you're like, oh, I don't have time. But, you know, when you're sitting in the car, put on worship music and start praying and thanking God for what he's about to do in your business.
Yeah.
You take a shower.
Yeah,
You're
when you're
brushing your
taking a
teeth.
shower, brushing your teeth. There's so many opportunities to put God in your day, some way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, that's how we partner with
So good.
God and the Holy Spirit, and to lead our business.
Yeah, and she mentioned tithing. A lot of every actually pivotal moment that our company grew was, obviously we have the recurring tithe that we do each and every month. Then we have some, over and above tithe that we do each and every month. But every moment where like the biggest shifts happened is when we actually didn't have much in the account, and we said, you know what, God is telling me to put this in there. And it's funny because it wasn't somebody else at church saying, hey, put this in there. It was actually just at home. We're together. She has something hits her in her mind, something hits her in her brain. That's God talking to her saying, hey, I want you to give this person money, or hey, send this much to the church. Hey, put this kid through summer camp. Hey, do this, and just do that extra.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what your account looks like. Just do it. And every time we've done that, now don't get me wrong. You're like, huh? But let's do it. If God said it to you, not me, it doesn't matter. He said it to one of us, so we're gonna do it. That's what a good husband
Well, the
does.
word says
Yeah.
the world of the generous gets larger and larger.
Yeah.
And random things happen. The growth for the virtual, the opening up of the other schools, the growth from 6 kids to 24, the studio growth from 30 to, 500-600 out of Escondido alone, then the partnerships with the districts and the other school programs across the county. Now,
Yeah.
every single time that has happened, we've said yes, and every single time we've happened, a random growth that we weren't expecting actually happened. It wasn't a planned growth, a random growth.
Wow. That's being led by the Holy Spirit. It's being
Yeah.
obedient. So as we wrap up here, Is there any specific question you have? Okay.
No, I'm just so blessed by y'all's story, your obedience. And thank you for sharing today. I think it's going to inspire so many people and really equip them with courage.
Yeah. Well, I would love to end on what is one piece of advice you each would give to the Christian business owner who's listening to this podcast. They desire growth, they desire success, but they want to do it with godly ambition, not laboring in vain. What would you say to that person?
Put God at the center of your marriage, because your marriage needs to work perfectly for you to be able to have a great business. Now, yes, we understand that there's always going to be tough times, conversations, conflict in a marriage at times. But as long as God's the center of your marriage, your sanity, your stability, everything, you'll get through everything, which if you're working with your spouse, your company will grow. If you're working by yourself on your own business, your company will grow because God is at the center, then it's marriage, then it's business. Or God, marriage, children, then business. But God starts everything.
So good.
I'm all just one. I would say, well, there's so much, to really trust God. What is the one hard thing that God is telling you to do? And then just do it and say, God, I put it in your hands. I've prayed about it. I really feel you're telling me to do this one thing. Do it. And then just watch God provide and supernaturally bless your business and your life.
Radical obedience.
So good.
Somebody said this, I saw it the other day online. They said, what happens if this fails? You're not going to have, I have a job, I'm reoccurring, I'm doing stuff. What happens if your entrepreneurial thing fails? And the guy looked at him, he said, why just go get a job like you? So, the whole point is God's with us and he's taking us.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we always can do more, but sometimes you got to just let God lead you, let God guide you and grow.
Yes.
That's so good. Well, Ricky and Lisa McCabe, it's been an honor to have you guys on here to hear your story. Where can people find you guys and connect with you online, your website? We have a lot of viewers in Southern California that might have some kids that want to get enrolled in Lovely Leaps. So how can they get a hold of you?
You do it.
Just type in the word Lovely Leaps. That's all you have to do. Every piece of communication will go back out to us.
That's how good their SEO is.
Come on. So good. Well, guys, as we wrap up here, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone that tunes into the Christian Entrepreneur Podcast. We do this because we want to pour into you to be successful with the gifts God's given you, to build your businesses God's way, and just to stir a revival in the marketplace, guys. We don't have to do business the world's way. We get to be the example setters. And so thank you guys for listening in. And as always, go make it a great day.